Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss how cheese is tripping us up again in our pursuit of worthless post-Brexit trade deals. This time it's Canada who have told us that if we want the deal we're asking for, we'd better ask the EU for permission. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So yeah, I can't imagine the Brexit media will present this angle. Canada have told the UK negotiators to ask for the EU's permission for the trade deal that we want with our Atlantic friends. But how does that work? Aren't we an independent sovereign nation now? Weren't we supposed to be able to strike our own deals without the EU? Yeah, it was a good joke, wasn't it? So before I go over the details of this latest Brexit embarrassment, I actually want to refer back to the Japanese trade deal. That was a bit cheesy too, wasn't it? In 2020, pandemic raging, Boris Johnson was desperate for a quick Brexit win after leaving the EU. Remember that Brexiteers had promised we'd be getting all manner of wonderful trade deals the second we left the EU. There was not going to be any years of negotiating, we're going to have them all. I will point out that after nearly 2.5 years, we've actually got 5. And only one of those is actually no, I was going to say only one of them is implemented, that's the EU one. It's only implemented from their side. We actually haven't implemented our bits yet. So no, we haven't got any implemented just now. And any other trade deals that the government try and tell you about are actually either just EU trade deals that the other countries let us copy and paste over, or they're trying to have a laugh and claim they're getting trade deals with individual states in the USA. They don't have the power to organise trade deals. What they mean is they've ordered a load of typewriters from California or something, they're calling it a trade deal. But the Japanese deal was hilarious. It had the following features of note. First, the trade deal is actually worse than the one the EU has with them. The government tried to claim it was better, but they were comparing our trade deal with back when the EU didn't have a deal at all, years ago. But the EU do have a trade deal with Japan, and it's better than ours. So we could have had an easier time trading with Japan if we'd stayed in the EU. Second, Liz Truss was the International Trade Secretary at the time, and she was asked to name features of the trade deal in Parliament that were better. Emily Thornberry was her opposite number at the time. Tell me something about it that's really good then, Liz. She wasn't asked to prove that there was a net benefit. She wasn't asked to prove the combination of pros and cons and come to an overall conclusion. No, just name a few features that were individually better. Couldn't name a single one. And she was asked multiple times. Couldn't come up with one. And third, cheese. Liz Truss goes on about cheese more than pork markets. She was trying to big up the deal in the press by talking about the cheese quotas she had won. Obviously, we are a big cheese producing country and can't actually export small amounts of cheese to the EU anymore, thanks to that stupid deal. So we need other markets to grow. But here's where it got embarrassing. We don't actually have any cheese quotas with Japan of our own. What we have are the leftovers from the EU. So we're allowed to use what the EU doesn't of its own quotas. So basically, if the EU export up to their quota for cheese to Japan, we're not allowed to export any to Japan at all. Now, in this particular case, it's not actually a big deal because the Japanese are famously lactose intolerant by and large, and there's not a massive market for cheese. So basically, the EU do not use up their quotas, so there is enough left over for us, so it actually works out. But it was an early reminder that we're not able to negotiate access into other markets for our important products, not of our own. What we were getting was the EU's leftovers. Well, now we have a similar situation arising with our talks with Canada. The UK is again asking for better market access for our cheeses. Canada has said it's not interested in importing more cheese, thank you very much. Canada's High Commissioner, Ralph Goodale, is reported to have told us that if we want better access for our cheese, we need to ask Brussels for part of the dairy quota back. They made the point that they negotiated the quotas with the EU, which included the UK at the time. The UK has now left, but as far as they're concerned, as far as Canada's concerned, there's still this like European bloc of countries, and the overall quota for these products needs to remain the same. Otherwise, they'd be hurting their own domestic producers. And most countries, Canada included, do not strike trade deals that are not a net benefit to their economy. I know this is a confusing concept for the Tories, but there it is. And it's the same situation as with Japan, really, only I'm guessing the EU find it easier to use up their dairy quota for Canada than with Japan. There must be some left, though, because we are still exporting to Canada. But it's with an interim deal. At some point it'll run out, so we need a more permanent one. It's only guaranteed until the end of next year. So it really is this simple. Canada views the UK and the EU as one right now in terms of these quotas. Politically, of course, we're not. But in terms of the volumes of imports from Europe, they don't want to bugger about with the maths. So if we want any quotas that are just our own, we have to do one of two things. First, as Canada is suggesting, we need to ask the EU to agree to reduce their own quotas. Not sure the EU is actually that stupid. Second, we need to offer something to compensate to someone. So we could offer the EU something to buy part of their dairy quota for ourselves. Or we could offer Canada something in return for increasing the quota of European dairy imports, which is what we'd effectively be asking them to do. And it's really that simple. Welcome to the real world of trade deals, where the country we're negotiating with doesn't actually want to concede market access unless it's getting something better in return. Because Canada, suggested themselves, the High Commissioner suggested, if we increased the quotas, we'd have to compensate our own producers. So what they're basically saying is, you'd have to give us something with which we could compensate with them and be up on the deal. Like I say, we don't really have many trade deals concluded at all. The ones we do basically gave the other side everything they asked for. That's how we got them so quickly. But over the coming years, we are going to need to get serious about arranging genuinely bespoke trade deals, as we were promised. But we're going to find that negotiating that better market access is going to be a little bit tricky. And I'll tell you why. First, I've just said, the other side doesn't want to give up access to their own market. This is why real trade deals take years to negotiate. Each side only offers small concessions at a time to avoid accidentally offering more than they needed to. It's like the world's most tedious game of poker. Second, we're struggling to be able to offer the other side anything. Like right now, our trade borders are leakier than a sieve. In theory, it's only goods coming from the EU that are not applying checks to. But what's to stop goods coming from other parts of the world coming to Britain via an EU port and avoiding those checks? Nothing at all. That's exactly what's happening. The way a trade deal normally works is we say, look, you give us better market access for our cheese and we'll give you better access into our market for your maple syrup. But, says the other side, we can already export our stuff to you without any problems anyway, because you don't have any real import controls. Because we are failing to manage our new trade borders, we are already giving easy market access completely free. We have almost nothing to bargain with. It's why, at best, all we can get are deals that are similar to those we had in the EU. Only in order to get these deals that are only about as good as the ones with the EU, we had to sacrifice a load of trade with the EU. So it's a massive net loss to us. It's not just that the current government is getting crap trade deals because they're in too much of a hurry and are conceding too much. Even a decent government cannot get decent post-Brexit trade deals because we've got nothing to offer. But we're one of the largest markets in the world, moaned the gammons. Yes, we are. Yes, in theory, we have a large potential market of buyers for these countries and they definitely want to trade with us. Absolutely. But it still comes down to this. They already have access to our market. We can't afford to restrict access to our market because we're in desperate need of imports because we're not producing enough ourselves. So we're giving it away for free right now. Our market access is completely for free. If Jacob Rees-Mogg gets his way, we'll be giving it away free in the long term as well. So rather than saying we have nothing to offer, perhaps what I should say is we have nothing more to offer. This is an issue I brought up a few years ago before we even left the EU. Now we're seeing it work in reality. Japan, now Canada, have told us we can have the EU's leftover of quotas. If we don't like it, we need to ask the EU to surrender some of theirs. Either way, we're going to have to pay for it. We're actually going to need to ask the EU's permission to arrange the trade deals that we want with others. That's the reality. That's some good sovereignty right there. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button, maybe even click on the join button if you're interested in memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.